All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. So, we just want to say we appreciate y'all for watching and to like and subscribe to this channel and to our vlog channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here. We're going to do part 2 of...
Well, I guess this is technically part 1. He did this one first, but yeah, whatever. It's now
the other part.
But before that is episode 206. All right, so today we're going to do 7 harmless British words Americans might find rude. It's by our boy Lost in the Pond again. All right, let's see.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to words. Specifically, words that are used commonly in one country that might be considered filthy in the other. And before we dive into those, apologies in advance to my mom, my former teachers, and the British Embassy. This is just one of those videos that my subscribers have been asking me to do for ages, so if you're going to blame anybody, blame them. Oh, and if you yourself are not yet subscribed to this channel, do that now. In the meantime, here is part 1 of a 2-part series in which I look at words that might make residents of the other country go a little red in the face.
Titbit.
And the first word that we're pulling out today is
I thought it was tidbit, like T-I-D.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm just learning it's titbit.
Tittybit. All right. So
I think we say tidbit because we probably don't hear the other T. I think
they say like titbit.
Yeah, and I think that because of the accent, we just assumed it was tid.
Maybe, yeah.
Titbit. Basically, titbit, which for those of you wondering rhymes with Fitbit, is an alternate spelling of what Americans would know as tidbit. And it's funny this because the word tit used to mean small and not what you're thinking of. And on this subject, I often hear British people saying things like, why did America change it? Well, it turns out they didn't. Tidbit is how we used to say it in Britain, and at some point in the past, we substituted a D for a T, which is something that happens commonly.
Sounds pretty British.
This English language phenomenon in which the letter T is pronounced as a D in the middle of words is known as T-flapping. T-flapping is especially common in American English, where speakers overwhelmingly pronounce butter as butter. However, as part of the gradual Americanization of British English, T-flapping has popped up a lot in recent years in Britain. In fact, the amount of British YouTubers I've heard recently pronouncing the word little as little is ironically large. Also, now that I've said it out loud a few times, T-flapping definitely belongs on a list of linguistic words that normies would find filthy. I'll be dropping that on my OnlyFans. Anyway, back to the whole titbit versus tidbit thing. Britain did whatever the exact opposite of T-flapping is and settled on titbit. America either didn't get that memo or didn't care. Although an American stage director of mine did care when I said it the British way. You can't say that, dude. There are kids in the audience. Next in line, you may occasionally hear British people from the past say the phrase, keep your pecker up, it's going to be all right, right? And that's not some weird foreplay. In fact,
it just sounds like keep your penis up.
Right.
Take Viagra.
That Viagra, yeah. Holy moly.
It's just another way of saying, keep calm and carry on. Except here in America, and broadly in English in general, the word pecker doesn't just mean a bird that does this. It also means a man's third leg. I don't know how to not get demonetized. And so clearly, if I use the phrase keep your pecker up to an American, I might face a lawsuit. Actually, the same is definitely true of this.
Stroke the dog.
In Britain, it is not uncommon for us to say, I stroked the dog. In fact,
What
I
the
never
fuck,
knew another
bro?
phrase.
You say like, hey, you give the dog a good old stroke, eh?
Why? Well, I'm confused. What? Is that what you've heard someone say?
I've never heard this. I'm just saying. I'm saying that. Yeah.
What does it mean to stroke the dog? Well, thankfully, it doesn't mean what you think it means, you weird little... It just means to do this to your animal.
To pet.
Across
say
its fur.
pet.
So literally
Make
stroke
it
a dog.
feel nice.
Pet a dog.
And this is a word difference that I wish I'd known before moving in with my in-laws who had 3 dogs at the time. And I remember the first time that I said to them, do you mind if I stroke the dog? You could see the cogs turning in their heads, and I don't know what they were thinking, but it was probably along the lines of, what is the phone number to the Department of Homeland Security? Anyway, to stroke the dog is another way of saying the American English phrase, to pet the dog.
Poppycock.
At some point in the past, it was decided that the word poppycock is a word entirely...
Your guys' words are just so entertaining. They just sound cool.
That's funny.
They sound cool. That's a load of poppycock.
All right.
I think that just means like bullshit.
Exclusive
that.
to Britain, but that itself is poppycock because the word is widely believed to have originated in the United States. In fact, the word meaning utter
nonsense.
rubbish
Nice.
or baloney was brought to these shores by Dutch settlers. It is derived from their word
Poppycock.
poppycock, meaning literally soft dung. So when someone says, "What a load of poppycock," the American use of horse is a viable synonym in more ways than one. With that quick disclaimer out of the way, you barely hear the word in America today. However, in Britain, it persists. And so if I were to use this word around Americans, they'd either giggle at me because, well, it contains the word cock, or because it sounds like a quaint British word. Lawrence, go stand in the corner and talk poppycock to me all day. Which, as it happens, is something that I'm highly skilled at.
What an accent.
Great tits.
It's not enough that we have the word
tit.
titbit.
Tit,
We have to
okay.
find other harmless ways of incorporating the word tit into our words and phrases. In this case, the word tit is used in a context that Americans might actually know well. That is tit, as in the type of bird. Indeed,
What?
the United States is home to 5 species of titmouse: the tufted, the black-crested, the oak, the juniper, and the bridal titmouse.
I had no idea
Me either.
the name of this bird.
I'm not a
Alright.
bird enthusiast, though.
Whoever named that last one knew what they were doing. What America doesn't have is the great tit, unless we're talking about my wife's cousin Chad. The great tit, which is also not a large hill with an igloo on top, is a type of bird found not just throughout Britain, but much of Europe. So laugh at this bird all you want, but just remember this: it can fly. What can you do?
Banga.
Oh, the word banger. It can mean so many things, and on either side of the pond. In both Britain and America, I've heard the word banger used to describe an old clunky car. But in Britain, it has multiple uses. For instance, a banger can also be a very loud firework. It can also be a sausage, and believe it or not, that is not a euphemism. Which probably explains why the odd, sometimes very odd American will ask me, what are the smutty origins of the UK dish bangers and mash? Well, hold your horses, because this has nothing to do with Rumpy Pumpy. In fact, the word banger in this context is thought to date back to World War I. The story goes that due to supply shortages, sausages had to be prepared with different filler to what is normal. And this, which mostly consisted of water, is said to have caused the sausages to explode. This still feels like a euphemism.
Rubber.
And finally,
Here is a
rubber.
really good
Now, firstly, I
song.
should clarify
Yeah,
that
that too,
nobody
yeah.
has a problem talking about rubber, the material. Both countries do that in equal measure. It's when we're talking about what Americans refer to as an eraser that things get dicey. Because while a rubber is what we call this in Britain, that very same phrasing can be used in the United States to mean
Eraser?
protective clothing for your third leg. Can we say condom? Now, thankfully, this is not a faux pas that I run into very often, because I haven't used a rubber since 1998. Yes, the stationery. So suffice to say that my heart goes out to all of the British teachers working in America.
That is interesting.
Being British in America is a weird experience. You encounter a lot of cultural differences, and as I've pointed out on this channel many times, this often includes word differences. And sometimes these word differences can leave you embarrassed, such as the words on this list, but also filthy place names like Intercourse, Pennsylvania, or Spittle in the Street, Lincolnshire. Therefore, when visiting
What?
the other country, it's important to be mindful about the words you use. Or don't, and see what happens. Coming soon is part 2 in this series, in which I look at American words that the British might find a little bit rude. To whet your appetite for that, why not check out this video looking at American English words that are catching on in Britain. Until the next video, goodbye.
All right. Cool. I like your guys' words are entertaining. They just sound more like
I feel
they
like
sound fancier.
I was gonna say I feel like the words that they use that we would find offensive, I don't think we would be offended simply because of how funny it would sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would just be thinking they're making a joke. Right?
Yeah. It's just some of them are funny though.
Poppycock, like
oh,
that's
you
funny.
did you have a rubber on you?
Right. And
Yeah,
don't
like,
get shocked when
yeah,
somebody gives
exactly.
you a condom.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, this guy's funny. All right, that was a good one. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe to the vlog channel.
And once again, give us some other words that
Yes.
come to mind if you're from the UK.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you've been here, so.
All right, we'll see you on the next one, loners.